Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. So we're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So day 10 is going to take us to around the 23rd of May. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles. Have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video. For the next 4 weeks, it'll take us well into June. And I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say that the first video today was our nice little 7 AM upload. And we've also released the European Outlook as well. So have a look at those two videos if you would like to do that. Now, big day yesterday. We hit 11k subscribers. So thank you so much, everybody, for getting us to 11,000 subscribers. What a milestone that was. So absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting us to 11k. And, you know, we've got a day or so, I suppose, to enjoy it. And then the grind to 12k will begin. We never stop to GavsWeatherVids. We've got to keep the content going. We've got to keep growing and evolving. And yeah, so 12k will be the next target. But thank you so much, everybody, for getting us to 11,000 subscribers. It's a huge number. You know, I never believed at all that I would have a channel that has 11,000 subscribers on. It's going to say thank you so much to Savvy for getting me the final 5 subscribers during his live stream yesterday afternoon as well. So thanks, Sav, for getting me my last 5 and getting the channel to 11k yesterday afternoon. But thanks to all of you, you know, for all of the support that you give to me and to GavsWeatherVids. It's absolutely incredible. And however you support us, you know, channel members, patrons, PayPal donors, super chatters in the live streams, watching videos, sharing videos, liking the videos, subscribing, telling friends, family, everybody else to subscribe. You know, there's so many different ways you can help to support GavsWeatherVids, and however you do it, I just say a big thank you to each and every one of you. And yeah, another milestone, 11k subscribers has been reached. Thank you so much, everyone, for getting us this far. 12k next. Right, let's start with the video then. We're going to have a look at the Arctic oscillation first of all. So let's zoom in on this a little bit. Better turn off the webcam as well, so I will be enabling the highlighter. So we'll turn webcam off. There we go. So looking at the Arctic oscillation observed and forecast. So here we go then. Black line shows where we've been with the AOV red lines at the end, where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. It looks like we're in a neutral to negative phase of the AO again. So you remember back in the winter, most of the winter, we had a negative Arctic oscillation. You see, like, the final couple of months or so of the winter just here. So through January into the middle of February, the Arctic oscillation was very negative. In the second half of February, the AO did go positive and stay positive then through March and just into the just to about the beginning of April. But since then, you know, we've been in like a neutral to increasingly negative phase with the AO. The red lines at the end are the GFS ensembles, and they're showing that essentially the AO will stay in a neutral to negative phase. It might even start trending more negative, actually, as we progress on through the rest of May. Remember, the AO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It doesn't drive anything in its own terms, just tells what the atmosphere is doing. So when the AO is positive, got low pressure over Greenland and over Pole, but when the AO is negative, have high pressure, have blocking over the Pole. So it had loads of blocking through the winter up until the end, till the middle of February anyway, and that's why the AO was negative through winter. We lost the blocking as we went into the end of winter, into the spring. So we set up low pressure then over Pole. That's why the AO went positive, and now the blocking has come back, and that's the reason that we, you know, had a very chilly April, to say the least, and you know, the blocking continues by the look of it into May. No sign there from an AO perspective of a strengthening of the Azores high and you know, a return to a more typical type late spring, early summer pattern. Let's have a look at the NAO observed and forecast here. That shows anything different. So again, the black line shows where the NAO has been. Red line's at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. So you can see that again with this, the NAO was positive, was negative, I should say, through January and into like the first half of February. Then it goes positive through the second half of February into March to early April. So very much in sync with the AO and the NAO. You know, they're very much in sync here as we're going from January into February into March into April. And then we go through April and we see the NAO trending negative through April and staying negative. You know, where we are right now is around neutral to weekly negative, but GFS ensembles are forecasting that the NAO will trend more negative as we move towards the middle of May, and then generally staying in negative territory through the rest of May as well, really. So both of the indexes are set negative. This is telling us that we have ongoing blocking signals. The weather is likely to be cool a lot of the time. Likely to be quite wet as well a lot of the time in this this time of year. You know, this sort of negative AO-NAO pattern with blocking will tend to be a wetter type pattern as well, and a distinct lack of ridges from the Azores, really. So our normal sort of idea about this time of year and going into summer is that we get ridges from the Azores high, bringing dry and warm conditions, increasingly dry and hot conditions we go into the summer, but no sign of that from an index perspective at the moment. It looks like these cool, maybe quite cold and unsettled conditions are set to continue overall. That's really what the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles are indicating as well. So we're looking at red card today. Red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for red card, northeast of England. You see that we are on the cooler side of average at the moment. Dates on bottom of the chart just here. So we're on the cooler than average side at the moment and for the next week as well. And there may be an increasingly cold trend actually emerging as we're moving towards into the final week of May, to be honest. We have got a cluster here of ensemble members that are going really cold, down to like -5 at 858 Fahrenheit, which is very, very cold for late May for that to happen. There's not enough of them to really pull down the ensemble mean, which is the white line. So there must be, you know, plenty of ensemble members that aren't pulling in this cold. It is cold northerly, I think, that these ensemble members are picking up on. So there are several ensemble members that aren't pulling in those cold northerly winds, but nevertheless there is a significant number of them that sometimes between, say, around the 21st, 22nd to 25th of May are going, you know, quite significantly colder. Now, as we move towards the very end of May, and this is really extending range stuff, we have got a warming trend emerging then. But of course, that is a really long way out. It's like 2 weeks away, so I would not be taking that seriously at this point. The overall sort of outlook for the next, certainly the next week to 10 days, is going to be average to slightly below average or below average, and with a possibility sometime around the change from the 3rd to the 4th week of May, but we might pull in a very unusually cold temperature and air mass for a few days anyway. Possibility. Precipitation-wise, just regular rainfall spikes as well, so plenty of precipitation to come. So cool and unsettled. It just doesn't end, does it? Temperature anomalies from the 13th to 21st of May are going to be below average, not just for the UK, but through most parts of Europe as well. Precipitation anomalies from the 13th to 21st of May are going to be wetter than average, especially so for Ireland, England and Wales, a little bit less so for Scotland, presumably due to the influence of blocking high pressure, I would have thought. But it is a wet scene yet again this week. Later info map from earthnullschool.net shows that we've got a little area of low pressure across southern parts of England, just there. So that could be bringing not only heavy outbreaks of rain for the rest of today, but also the risk of some thundery showers or thunderstorms as well. So check out Stormwatch, its last video that we uploaded last night for more detail on that. The rest of the country is into a sort of northeasterly type flow, so it's pretty cool out there and rather showery as well. Right, let's have a look at the generic charts, and for this part of the video I'll put the webcam back up, I think. There we go, I'm back. So hello, let's go through the generic charts then. So we're going to begin with UK Met. This is how UK Met is looking on Sunday. Low pressure, trough low pressure over UK and over Western and Northern Europe as well. So going to be unsettled through the weekend. Into the early part of next week, that area of low pressure continues to sit close to the country. Troughs rotating around the area of low pressure will bring showers, if not some longer spells of rain too. And heading up to the middle of next week, the wind remains in from a north to northwesterly direction, so there'll be further showers coming and going. I'm probably bringing in some colder air actually by the middle of next week into the far north Scotland as the wind goes into north. There's more low pressure in the Atlantic as well, so beyond that it probably is going to be you know, quite unsettled as well. GFS midnight run, again looking like this, so low pressure is close to the country on Sunday. Into the early part of next week, we remain unsettled with low pressure pushing through, bringing further showery bouts of rain. Another area of low pressure developing to the west of Ireland there on Wednesday next week. That will probably bring a further renewed bout of wet weather. That's a bit of a dartboard moving in through the middle of next week, bringing heavy rain, probably quite strong winds as well. Notice heights rising again over Greenland. So we saw it on the AO and LEO charts, both in negative territory. That's a signal for blocking. There we see it again. High pressure at 1,040 millibars, probably 1,050 at its centre over Greenland. So blocking is back in business again through the middle second half of next week. Turning wind back into the north by the end of next week. That low pressure clears away. So we're going to the weekend of 22nd, 23rd of May up towards day 10. And here we go. The wind is back into the north again. Following the ice bars back, the area is originating from a long way north, plunging southwards. So those cold northerly winds return. Of course, we're that much further on into May, so it won't be as cold as like the northerly that we had a week or two back, but nevertheless back into those cold northerlies again. Just can't shake them off. -5 Celsius isotherm is pushing down through central and northern parts of the country, so that's very unusual for second half of May to get the -5 Celsius isotherm moving down through the country, and it's indicative of the fact that yes, winds are back in to the north, and we bring the air in from an Arctic source once again. And now beyond that, we start to ridge in this area of high pressure from the Atlantic. That starts to cut off the northerly, so to warm things up and settle things down under that area of high pressure. And we actually start to fret, pulling some quite hot air by the end of May. This is Thursday, 27th of May, by which time the high pressure is centered over to our east, and when we're pulling in like a southeasterly type flow. So from winter to summer there in a few days. Absolutely incredible. Look how hot it is over Germany and eastern parts of France, for example. If we pull in a southeasterly, we will import that air in. Actually, the GFS doesn't quite import it in. It sort of senses high pressure north of Scotland, so we get low pressure down our southwest. We don't quite pull in that really hot air. But nevertheless, you know, it's an idea, but we may get a push of heat. But before that, we've got like another northerly to contend with. GFS 6Z looks like this. So again, low pressure is coming in off the Atlantic on Sunday. It's going to be an unsettled weekend with showers along spells of rain. And into next week, it's looking unsettled too. Low pressure sitting to our east. Winds are in from a northerly direction again. For into the second half of next week, there'll be further areas of low pressure coming and going. Maybe not going quite as far with the blocking over Greenland on the 6Z as the midnight run did. But nevertheless, you know, heights still relatively high to our north. Whilst we've not got quite as much of a northerly with the 6Z as we did with midnight run, it's still quite cool, and it's still pretty showery for much of next week. Big area of low pressure there over France, by the way. If that came northwards, that would bring a real deluge, but it doesn't quite do that. It moves over towards Germany and Denmark. But nevertheless, we still look unsettled. Another low is coming in here on the 25th of May into the last week of the month, keeping low pressure in. And we keep it unsettled then right way up to the end of the GFS 6Z. Have got a little bit of a ridge here by the 29th of May, just a little bit of a transient bump, but I think only ahead of this next low, but it'll roll in over top and bring more unsettled weather. So they're both unsettled, and the midnight GFS has a big northerly. Let's have a look at what the GEM is showing. Then this is Sunday again. Low pressure is dominating, keeping unsettled weather going into next week. It's unsettled, cool, probably quite cold and showery, and further low pressures coming in off the Atlantic will bring further bouts of rain with the GEM as well. Eventually we get a little bit of a ridge starting to push down from the north as well, so more blocking signals here around Iceland and Greenland heading up towards day 10. We are actually under a slight ridge there, but again we've got more low pressure in the Atlantic, and I think any ridge will be quickly flattened off and pushed away by that low pressure. So the GM is also pretty cool and unsettled, and then the ECM looks like this. So once more low pressure is moving in off the Atlantic over weekend and into the early part of next week. Cool, unsettled, winds into the north by the middle of next week. Then the next area of low pressure develops to the west of Ireland. That looks like a very intense area of low pressure for the time of year. Will probably bring gale force winds if that comes off through the second half of next week. So wetter, windy and cool to second half next week. That low pressure moves away to the east, turns the wind into the north as we run up towards day 10. So by day 10 we're in a northerly. Again, not quite as much of a northerly blast as the GFS midnight run was showing, but wind is back in from a northerly direction, so at very least it'll be cool, not quite cold, and continuing to be showery. We've got a bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge here. That ridge might topple in beyond day 10, you know, between sort of days 10 and 14. It might topple in and give us a few days of drier and potentially slightly warmer weather, but that's inconclusive. Another option is that low pressure just rolls in over the top and keeps the unsettled weather going, really. So yeah, the charts continue to be cool and unsettled, and it's a very, very clear and consistent signal. This is the precipitation type forecast based on the ECM run from Tameteo.com. So, as I say, there's showery rain today, so that could turn thundery. Check out Stormwatch for more about that. Into tonight, the showers and long spells of rain will ease off. Tomorrow, we have got showers, mainly in the west, not quite as heavy or intense as today. And then in comes wet weather for the weekend. There'll be bouts of rain moving in from off the Atlantic over the weekend, particularly focused on England and Wales, actually. Into the early part of next week, lots of heavy showers, could be some thunderstorms mixed in as well, and just regular showers or longer spells of rain or longer spells of rain coming and going right the way up to day 10. It is an unsettled scenario. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which will get us to the 23rd of May. 14 members of the ECM ensembles will have high pressure blocking towards Greenland. Low pressure will be over UK and Ireland, so that's going to be very cool and unsettled. 11 will have high pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. Low pressure will be to our east, and winds will be coming in from the north. Cool and unsettled with that option. 11 just here have low pressure in off the Atlantic. High pressure just to our southwest. Obviously, that's going to be quite unsettled too. It does have northern blocking continuing as well. 8 have mid-Atlantic ridge going up to Greenland with low pressure to our east. That pulls in the wind from the north. And 7, and it does include the operational run, again with a mid-Atlantic ridge heading up towards Greenland anyway. And low pressure over to the east of the country, so it also will be cool and unsettled generally. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Could involve high pressure a little bit more. This is for the 28th of May. 18 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure just to our north. Winds in from the east. That should be a little bit dry and warm, though there is some low pressure to our south that might threaten some thundery showers or some rain to the south. But I think that is generally settling down a little bit and probably warming up slightly. 18 have, again, a mid-Atlantic ridge and lots of northern blocking between Greenland and Scandinavia. Low pressure just to our southeast. Winds with that are in from a northeasterly direction. So that will still be pretty unsettled, especially so for more southern areas, and probably quite cool, to be honest. And then 15 just here will have low pressure just to our north and will be bringing in a little bit more of a westerly flow. That's probably quite unsettled, although heights are rising to some degree anyway to the south. Again, it's inconclusive, but there's no clear signal for high pressure to take over before the end of May now, I have to say. Finally, with CFSV2, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 13th to the 19th of May. The coming week looks unsettled, with below average heights low pressure in off the Atlantic, along with a westerly flow. So going to be cool and unsettled. Week 2 is also looking unsettled. This is the 20th, 26th of May. This is when the CFS have been highlighting over previous days that high pressure will try and take over. Not now, not sign of that. Now just under trough low pressure there, right way towards the end of May, still with some northern blocking as well. Week 3 is a bit different. It's the 27th of May to the 2nd of June. So sort of a mid-Atlantic ridge type thing going on here. High pressure in the Atlantic heading up towards Greenland. That would probably turn things a bit drier, but would be quite cool with winds in from a northwesterly or even a northerly direction. Week 4 looks a little bit better. It's the 3rd to the 9th of June, with high pressure and centred over and just to the north of the country. That would bring in an easy wind, which would be quite warm, possibly even rather hot, into June with easy winds. And of course, with high pressure much more in the ascendancy, it would be a lot drier as well. But that is week 4, and of course it was supposed to be like the middle of May that we would get a change to higher pressure. Then we're supposed to get a change to higher pressure. That was pushed back. We're supposed to get a change to higher pressure in the second half of May, then at the end of May, and now it's pushed back again into early June. So we shall wait and see. But for the time being, it all looks set up to be cool and unsettled from what I can see, and possibly the chance of another northerly plunge if the GFS midnight run is correct around day 10. If you enjoyed the video, please can you smash your like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. You'll be able to see future weather content if you give us a sub. Tell friends and family to subscribe as well. Drop a comment, let us know what you think. We have reached 11k subscribers, so we're on the grind now, really, for 12k, and we'll see how long it takes us to get to 12k, I suppose. Thank you so much, everybody. Right, that's it for today's videos. Tomorrow, we're going to have JMA Friday, have a 10 to 14 day as well, so keep checking back to the channel for all of the updates. But for today's videos, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.